warm welcome to this special episode of Good Governance and Better Security Leadership Series. My name is Anoop Verma. Today, our guest for this webinar is Mr. B. Shanker Jaiswal. He is the Joint Commissioner, Tech, Cyber and Licensing in Delhi Police. A member of the Indian Police Service, Mr. Jaiswal is BTech from IIT Kanpur and MS Research from IIT Delhi. He pursues his interest in cybercrime prevention and detection and use of emerging digital technologies for solving practical policing problems. The topic of today's webinar is the use of new technologies for police work. In a detailed presentation, Mr. Jaiswal will explain how video analytics and emerging technologies like AI can be used for detecting and preventing crime, ensuring public safety, and enabling emergency police response. Welcome, Mr. Jaiswal.
Thank you, Mr. Anoop, and I want to express my sense of gratitude to Economic Times also, because this is the fourth webinar in the series of webinars organized by Economic Times. And in each webinar so far, we have covered one of the very important relevant topics. And this time we are going to cover altogether new topic, and which is AI and video analytics driven CCTV-based safe city project of Delhi Police. So I'll just mention about why we are talking about video analytics and AI. A decade back, way back in Commonwealth Games times, when I was also looking after technology in Delhi Police, way back in 2010, that time we were also launching many CCTV-based projects. But at that time, people were not talking much about AI. Of course, AI was not a buzzword at that time. Or even video analytics was very, very primitive. The best which I can understand at that point of time was either perimeter intrusion or ANPR, automated number plate reader. So these were the two technologies at that time available. But a decade and a half from that era, now we are at the cusp of AI wave, and AI use cases are aplenty. You name the things, there's some solution available. And that's why the CCTV project has been, is now being viewed with a AI prism. How AI can help in not only watching CCTV, but also coming out with some inferences which can help in prevention of crimes, and also mobilizing emergency resources well in time, so much so that we can prevent a crime which is about to happen. And many use cases of AI, particularly identification of a criminal who is out to commit a crime, identification of some anomalous situation where a crime may happen. For example, somebody brandishing a weapon, he may commit some crime with that. So is it possible to detect such kind of anomalous, suspicious situation through cameras in real time? Of course, this cannot be done by a human user and a person who is watching cameras day in and day out. This is not possible humanly. Watching cameras, thousands of cameras in real time, day and night. So, but machine can do it without getting bored, without losing attention. And that's why the beauty of AI is that we can do lot many things by watching cameras, which earlier we were doing manually, physically, by deploying police staff in busy areas, in crime-prone areas, with all limitations, because a human being cannot work 24/7. A human being would not have attention span for longer period. He will get distracted by many things, cannot work in night time with equal efficiency. But machine can do lot many things with the advent of AI technology. And that's why today's topic is very important. And the topic says it's a CCTV-based project. Of course, we had CCTV project earlier also. But this time, this CCTV-based project is coming in a new avatar. And that new avatar is it is driven by AI-based analytics, AI-based video analytics of many kinds. And that's why I want to motivate this topic for the audience, why this topic is very important in current time, and why cities across the world, across our country, are going in big way for such kind of CCTV based system, where alerts would be generated automatically by AI driven engine. And on all the alerts, our emergency response system will work automatically. So we would be saving golden minutes. I'm not saying golden hours, golden minutes, which is very crucial in terms of life and death, which is very crucial in saving someone's life well in time before a crime happens, before a disaster situation emerges. So this is not only for prevention of crime, but also for uh, prevention of some big disaster, mitigation of disaster, and early rescue operation, because machine can identify a possible scenario where there can be some arson, possible scenario where there can be a big fire incident. Maybe a early spark can also be identified by machine before that spark becomes a big fire incident. Maybe machine camera can alert the control room, and control room can act upon that and can prevent the fire much early before it really causes some big disaster. So I would like to go through a couple of slides through which I'm going to talk about the Safe City project of Delhi Police, which is a mega project of Delhi Police under Nirbhaya Fund. And Delhi, being one of the largest metropolitan cities in the world, is also having the biggest scope in terms of this Safe City project. This is the largest project in our country in terms of not only installation of thousands of cameras, but also many data analytics use cases, many AI and video analytics based use cases, even gunshot detection system is also visualized in this project. So I'll be talking about this project and the component of this project. This project is near completion, and most of things have already been installed. Some testings are being done, and that's under process. So let's go ahead with the slides. Uh, so broadly, this project has got 8 components. The first component, which comes from the name itself, the CCTV cameras, would be the major component of this project. We will have over 10,000 cameras, new cameras, and in Delhi police, we have 15,000 legacy cameras, over 15,000 legacy cameras. So in all, we'll have 25,000 cameras, and those 25,000 cameras are of multiple kinds, not only fixed ones, but also PTZ. PTZ means pan, tilt, zoom. Is a very sophisticated cameras. And then ANPR cameras, automated number plate reader. They are specialized cameras to read through AI methods the number plates of the vehicle. So this is about cameras. And then data lake will have 32 databases of Delhi Police pooled into one massive framework in which all kinds of data analytics can be done. Then we have a massive data center. All these things are to large extent deployed, uh, put in operation for testing, and after everything is complete, we'll go for actual go live. Then gunshot detection system. We'll have 200 such points throughout the city where gunshot detectors would be put in place. And the moment there is a gunshot, it will be detected automatically by the system, and the cameras would be directed towards the source of the gunshot so that the culprits can be caught, and also the kind of weapon which has been used can also be identified. Then command and control center, which will be the brain of entire system, where all kinds of communication system would be there, all kinds of computation would be there, because computation is something which is totally new in this project. Previous avatar of Safe City project or CCTV based project didn't have compute element, but this time we have a huge compute element which is primarily responsible for all kinds of AI and video analytics. Then we have mobile command and control vehicle. They are like command and controls and compute center on wheel. So if there is some situation in any part of the city, the such kind of mobile command control vehicle can be mobilized without any delay, and all kinds of decision, all kinds of data access, all kinds of visualization of any camera throughout the city can be done through the vehicle itself. Then Prakhar vans, they are like mobile CCTV cameras. It will have fixed cameras, and it will have body worn cameras with the employees, and it can be mobilized based on the demand, based on the requirements. And finally, we have public address system throughout the cities, and where we can, we can uh, give customized messages, audio messages in one go, and also all the command and control room in districts, in police stations, they will also be connected with that. So it will be a very handy tool in case of disaster situation, and also in case of some kind of hot chase when some criminal has committed some offense and he's on run. So entire city can be mobilized. All the police agencies throughout the city can be mobilized using public address system. And also for anti-terrorist measures, various kinds of announcements can be made for common people, for the people who are in market, for the people who are at railway stations. They all can be addressed in real time depending on the situation. So in a different way, we can look at it, the different components, integrated command and control system. We call it C4I, which is integrated command, control, communication, and compute. So compute is a new element. So there's 4C, so we call it C4I. And we have a video wall, large video wall, which is equivalent of the theater, cinema theater. I mean, equivalent of 2 floors of a building. And the huge size video walls is there. Then AI and ML system, and there's something called picture intelligence unit, which will be a device, mobile device, which will be in the hands of our beat officers, field officers, who are using this system remotely using some application in the mobile. Such kind of system we have already tested, and we are refining it further. Then we will have a lot many video based application, video analytics based application using AI. And one is of course recognition of person by face. If a culprit, a criminal is about to commit crime, he can be identified through the database, and before he commits crime, he can be identified, and he can be intercepted by field staff. So this is the beauty of this project. Before crime happens, we will be acting. It's unlike dial 112, where only when something happens, normally we come to know what some need for police assistance. But here, if we find something about to happen, if a citizen also finds something, and maybe some person is doing something which appears very anomalous, camera can identify, camera can find out the anomalous situation, and based on that command and control system, where the huge compute and AI is at work 24 into 7, it will generate automated alert, and that alert will be acted upon through a dial 112 system. The dial 112 system has been integrated with Safe City project. So mobilization of field staff, mobilization of PCR vehicles will be done by in an integrated manner through software system automatically. So the golden minutes would be saved, and prevention of crime will make sure that loss of life can be prevented. And many other things, other use cases are also possible, like missing children. Sometimes it's a menacing thing, and a missing child in one part of city is found oftentimes in very different part of the city. With this kind of CCTV based system, it is possible that the moment a missing child is seen in the camera will check his face with the backend person of interest database, where the missing child's photo is uploaded, and instantly alerts can be generated. So this will be a boon for parents who somehow they lose their child by such kind of thing. And missing children, oftentimes it takes so much time in identification and verification and finding out. Maybe with this kind of system, it is possible to get back the missing child quickly. And data lake is the place where we'll have all kind of data, all kind of databases put together for data analytics. So this is seen. You can have a visualization of all the cameras. You can see red ones and green ones. So green ones are the legacy system. and red ones are CCTV based project, which is Safe City project. So we have 25,000 such cameras which we have plotted, and this is the command control communication and compute center, integrated command control communication compute, C4I. This is a massive size command control center where visualization of any camera in the city can be obtained at any moment, and real time watching, real time monitoring, and real time alert generation and action upon alerts. Everything can be done from here, and the operators would be monitoring each and every alert, and that alert is passed on to the concerned field staff immediately for action. So this is the scenario how this whole workflow will take place. So let's imagine there is a woman in distress. So she gestures looking at the camera, and camera will identify the distress signal from the woman immediately and without any human intervention, and that AI engine will immediately alert the field staff through various means. And you can see here the incident details and data analytics will also come in the picture, and all the mobile vehicles, trucker vans, PCR vans, beat personnel, they all are mapped to respective camera, and without any loss of time, without any further all these agencies, they can be mobilized, and with the benefit of saving so many minutes, I would say, because otherwise there happens to be a PCR call in normal times, but here the camera has generated alert, the AI has generated alert, so these staff will be they will be mobilized immediately, and most likely if there is some crime situation, that crime situation can be intercepted, that crime situation can be prevented by the help of multiple agencies. Simultaneously, this whole system is also integrated with dial 112, which is ERSS 112, emergency response support system. This is a usual system all cities in India have, because they earlier it was dial 100, now it is pan India single number ERSS 112, emergency response support system, which takes care not only of prevention of crime but also prevention of some emergency situation. So it is a holistic kind of a response mechanism. You can compare it with 9111 in US. Here in India, it is 112. So this is integrated with Safe City project also, so that video analytics based alerts can also be acted upon through the mechanism of ERSS 112. So both are integrated. If there's something coming from ERSS 112, that can also be added into this project and vice versa. So these are the kinds of AI-based analytics use cases we have. We have people detection system, all kinds of person analytics, identification of person, number of persons in a particular area, what is the crowd size, what is the crowd density, everything can be found out in real time. And based on that, many use cases have been designed. So let's say I give you one picture. Let's say at Jantar Mantar, suddenly, there's an increase in crowd size. We come to know only when the crowd size reaches a certain level. Maybe if somebody informs us, or maybe our beat staff comes to know about it. But in AI-based system, if before a crowd surges to certain threshold level, even the approach roads where crowds can be counted, number of persons can be counted, they can give us the vital input, and based on that, before a crowd goes to a certain level of concern, before that we can find out and we can take action on that. Similarly, vehicle analytics is also very important. We know number plate recognition is very common one. It's old technology, but now with the AI, it has become more and more smart. We can now read numbers in dark also, in complete pitch dark also, we can read numbers using IR-based cameras. For human being, it is complete dark, but in AI-based system, we can read the numbers. And even in background is very lit, well lit, and with a lot of in floodlight also, when numbers can't be read by human being, still in AI-based system, we can read number. So this is the beauty of AI-based system. And on number plate system, lot many use cases have been designed, like fake number plate, color not matching with the number plate, because every number is registered, and we have at the back end we have vehicle registration data, driver's data. So if any anomaly, any kind of mismatch, that can be flagged by the AI system. If the same number is found in two places in city, naturally one of them would be fake. So these things can be easily identified. Even a vehicle is going across the city after committing a crime, so multiple cameras would be reporting the same number, and in that way we can have a hot chase. We can have complete idea where the vehicle is currently moving, and based on that, local police agencies can work. They can act upon that. Then facial analytics is very important. As I said, missing child can be found using facial analytics. A known criminal who is at a certain place and where he should not be, can raise an alarm, and that can be a case where he might be about to commit a crime. In that scenario, such kind of faces can be identified through backend backend database of person of interest, and we can stop before he commits a crime, and in that way a lot many crime preventions can be done. Similarly, in video analytics, there are other use cases, and the list is just illustrative here. You name the things that is possible through AI. It's only matter of training, how much data we collect, how much training we do, and we try and let the system learn from the use cases. So one use case could be, if somebody falls on the ground suddenly, he may be a person who is sick, person might have had a heart attack, anything could be possible, and maybe he is a victim of a gunshot. So in either scenario, the AI based system will identify and find out the person has fallen. So somebody will alert will be generated, and immediately local PCR vehicle or maybe the beat staff can be mobilized, and the person can be saved if there is some serious issue. Similarly, object detection, unidentified object lying somewhere, it could be a suspicious object, it can be a bomb. So that can be immediately identified through cameras throughout the city. Similarly, a woman in a deserted place, that can also raise an alarm, because sometimes, is there something wrong happens before that, the AI based system can raise an alert. Similarly, there could be a scenario when a child, in a deserted place, and there's nobody, no guardian with him, so that scenario can also be identified. So these are basically some of the illustrative list which we have started as a pilot, but later on we'll move on to many other use cases, depending on how much training we are able to give and how much able to, sophistication we are able to bring in our system. But theoretically, anything is possible. Then predictive policing is another component where we'll be doing crime hotspot based on the historical data of crime, PCR call data, and also FIR data, and many features of crime data. And based on that, we will be predicting crime, where crimes are most likely to happen in next shift or in next day, so that we can make adequate deployment in those areas. Then gunshot detection I mentioned, PS system I mentioned, and so I'll move to next slide. So I'll show a few scenario, like uh, person count. You can see here, the camera will identify how many persons are there, and the person, we can put a threshold for each camera, and based on that threshold, the system will identify, okay, look how many people are there, and this appears to be a dense crowd or medium sized crowd, and some kind of use cases can be developed on that, and some field staff can act upon that. So crowd analytics is one. What is the mood of the crowd? That can also be theoretically identified, the sentiments of the crowd and all these things. Similarly, second scenario could be abandoned object. So this is an abandoned object. So this person has kept it over there. So that can be easily identified by a machine. A person has fallen. So using person analytics, this can be identified, and immediately field staff can be mobilized, because each camera is already mapped on GIS. So the moment a particular camera gives certain alert, that alert will be immediately passed on to the beat staff, to the field staff in that area. So the vital time is saved in this process, rather than routing it through many channels, straight away the beat staff it would be alerted by messaging, by calls, by wireless messages, and also by the message sent to his mobile data terminal. So one scenario I can show you, this is a particular crime we have plotted on GIS map. The blue ones are the cameras and the red ones are the crime hotspots. So on those hotspots, we can have adequate deployment, and this we can do. We can refresh for every shift, or we can refresh for every day, depending on how how much fine tuning we want. And this can be straightaway delivered to field officers, let's say like SHOs of the police station, or DCP of the district, or maybe joint CP and a special CP of the respective jurisdiction, so that they can make sure that adequate deployment is made in those areas where particular crime hotspots are emerging. And these hotspots are not permanent ones, they are transient ones. They keep shifting, they keep changing. So this can be refreshed for every shift and every day, and this can be a very useful tool for crime prevention. So this I was talking about P-Iris. P-Iris is an application which our field staff or beat officer would be having, and by that application mobile, they would be able to access our command and control and communication system, and they can get connected to our data center, where they would be provided with all kinds of analytics in real time. For example, I give a scenario. Let's say a beat staff finds a person loitering in market area aimlessly and appearing to be very suspicious. So now his primary duty is to prevent crime, and he finds that a person appears to be suspicious. He might commit some crime, or maybe think about the terrorist situation where some terror act. Somebody about to do some terror act. He might look suspicious. So that kind of suspicious behavior uh, can be found out through cameras also, automated camera-based video analytics, or beat staff also can, from his own judgment, can identify such persons. The moment he finds such kind of suspicious character, one thing he can do immediately, that he can click a photo and he can send the photo through his mobile application, which is P-Iris, and the data center will quickly return him full details of that person if that person is in the database. Database means database of criminals. Criminals who have been registered as bad characters, and hardened criminals and wanted criminals. So if the suspicious person is one of them, then beat staff will have full details in his mobile, and he can act on that. He can intervene, he can intercept that person and take necessary legal action. So this is one scenario. Another scenario is that a vehicle appears to be involved in some crime. Maybe it might have committed some, the vehicle has been used in commission of crime, or maybe after committing crime, the culprits are moving in that vehicle. In either case, our beat staff or field staff can take a snap of the vehicle number, and that number can be sent through P-Iris. Immediately, all details of that number, particularly if that vehicle is stolen, if that vehicle has ever been used in some crime, that the vehicle is wanted in some case, all kind of things can be identified. Not only this, but even if the vehicle color is not matching with the database, then alert can be generated. So these kind of things would be very useful in prevention of crime, very useful in investigation and keeping the city safe. So this is our database, data lake, where multiple databases of Delhi police they are grouped together in various category: crime databases, traffic databases, communication databases, and other sister agencies. They are also having databases which are relevant to us, and all data, relevant data, they are brought together in data lake, and there we do all kinds of analytics. And finally, this is gunshot detection system. I mentioned about it in the beginning of this presentation. So that is also going to be very useful for keeping the city safe. So that was all I wanted to share as part of the presentation, Mr. Anoop. Now, if you have any questions, you can.
I think this is a very interesting presentation that you gave. and the way the new technologies are being used for improving the law and order situation in the city, and perhaps it can be replicated across several other states also. So, what I would like to know from you is that the modern CCTV system that is being deployed is significantly different from the traditional systems. Now, how
Yeah.
are the AI-based alerts being used in the modern CCTV systems different from the traditional systems?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning also, my personal experience that in 2010 when Commonwealth Games was being organized, and at that time in preparation of that Commonwealth Games and for ensuring the foolproof safety and security, lot many projects were visualized and conceptualized, and one of the projects was a CCTV based system. And I vividly remember how often we used to go to our borders, different borders, Singhu borders, other borders, and getting all these CCTV based system installed. And one of the important component was ANPR. At that time, ANPR was very popular, and because the ANPR system was based on traditional AI, rather it was based on digital image processing, not so much AI kind of thing. So it was very easy to detect how to read numbers. But since then, during the last decade and a half, there has been tremendous amount of activities in this area, and a lot of innovations has happened, and many use cases of AI has come about, and they have become so mature that they are being rolled out in public domain for various kinds of citizen services, various kinds of fruitful use cases. And as I said, one of the important use case is identification of anomalous situation through camera, through video analytics. So video analytics is possible to train a model for a specific kind of anomalous situation. We call it semantics video. From video, you try to figure out the meaning, what is happening. So
Hmm.
one scenario, a few scenarios I could show in the presentation, but there can be others. One scenario could be somebody is getting into scuffle with someone. So now that is very typical kind of scene, which is even as a human being also we can very easily figure out if two persons are fighting or they are just just going along and just uh, trying to play prank. So the distinction we can figure out very easily. So machine can also be trained, AI model can also be trained to figure out whether two persons are getting into some kind of serious scuffle or they are about to commit crime. Maybe another scenario could be a person is taking out weapon from his pocket and putting aiming at someone. This is something where AI system can easily figure out. Only all it requires is few examples, and those examples are not very many. In fact, even with 100 such examples, a machine 200 such examples, machine can be reasonably trained. Maybe it may not be very accurate, but with training, as training goes on, it will become smarter and smarter. So we can start with some initial training for many use cases. The wish list is very long. We, in fact, when we sit down, we always come out with lot many use cases, because we feel that whatever our police staff or beat staff can see in a given situation, AI system can also see, because ultimately AI system has become so smart that nowadays AI based computer vision has become so much sophisticated that out of millions of objects it can figure out what is that object. So you may be aware that big tech company, they have mastered this art so much that now there nothing on this planet which cannot be identified by computer vision, by AI system. So only thing is that object detection has become very much mature now. To make the figure out the meaning with multiple objects, that is the question, and that is called semantics video. So from the video, can you find the story? Whatever I'm speaking, that can be converted to text, no issue. But whatever gesture I'm making, can it be, or maybe couple of people are making gesture, is it possible to find the story, what is happening? Now it is possible. Now with semantics video, it is very much possible. And that's why there's a lot of hope and lot of excitement in this area, that the virtual policing and cyber policing, maybe AI-based policing can be done through cameras to a large extent if we train our models in that manner. This is work in progress. I'm not saying whatever use cases I'm talking about, they are all mature enough. No, as of now, most of the use cases are not mature enough, but good number of use cases are pretty in a mature fashion, so that they can be rolled out. Facial recognition is pretty mature. Only thing is that in a very unconstrained environment, like a dark night, maybe the face is not very much visible, it would not give very good results. There's an issue. There are many other issues I'll be talking later on. Maybe issues of accuracy is something which one should be very much aware of while rolling out this system. So this system, which is driven by AI, is much different from the system we had a decade and a half back, and that's why there's a lot of hope for put good use of such kind of system for crime prevention, for public safety, and for emergency response.
I think it's very interesting that as you are noting, that the person's body movement, expression, or his whatever gestures he is making can be decoded, and the story can be built around it. Okay, what is exactly going on in his mind or in the area around him. Now, what kind of alerts can be generated through these systems?
So it alerts, one alert means one particular use case, one particular scenario. So when when you design a system, CCTV based system using AI, you first figure out how many use cases you are going to have, because that will decide how much compute hardware you will be going to install. It's not like you have decided with the hardware and scale of compute, and then you go on adding use cases. No, it cannot do, because every use case will have the requirement of a certain amount of compute. So what the usual practice is that we go for the mature use cases where we are pretty sure that the system will work, and later on we move on to new use cases the moment as and when they get matured enough, and then we have to add equivalent amount of hardware. So currently the good use cases are, of course, identification of person by face is a very good use case, because you know that face recognition technology has advanced so much that 100% accuracy, nearly 100% accuracy is obtained in a constrained environment. You take the example of Digi Yatra. You take the example of where a person's face is recorded and checked in a constrained environment where good lighting is there, and the face is also properly aligned to camera. A person is looking at the camera. But when it is not in a constrained environment, where in the typical scenario is CCTV based system, where the person is not actually looking at the camera. Person is maybe passing through camera, maybe only partial face is visible. In that scenario, this face recognition is a little difficult, not very mature, it doesn't give much, very high accuracy. But daytime, and depending on the alignment of face, still we can hope for better and better results. So this is one use case which is very useful for crime prevention, and other use cases where it all depends on training, how much training we give. So if I train my model for person falling, it will work for that. If I train my model for a woman in deserted place, it will work for that. If I train my model for a woman giving distress sign, maybe some woman in distress, maybe some crisis, it will the system will figure out. So you have to train the AI, a new AI model for each and every use case. So we started with a dozen such use cases, but as we progress with this dozen use cases, which are the good ones, which are very easily trainable models, we will go on to other difficult models, other difficult use cases. But sky is the limit, because this technology is maturing every year, and and new ways of improving the accuracy is coming out. Because it's a very large community. This technology is attracting large community of researchers and big tech companies, and so much research is happening that we can hope that Whatever is not even thinkable, maybe after 2 3 years, those things are possible. Now people are even going ahead with not only visual optical images, but also infrared images for detection. And people are also going for drone based detection, drone based facial recognition. All these things are happening, and it's high time we should reap the benefits of modern AI systems, and for the benefit of society, for the benefit of people at large, so that we can prevent crimes, make the cities safe and secure.
Any AI-based system can only be as good as the data on which it has been trained. So some false positive and false negative will always be there because any amount of data is not good enough. It has to keep evolving. So how do you tackle the problem of false positive and false negatives in such a system?
Very, very relevant question, Anupji. In fact, I am very happy that you asked this question, because not many people are talking about this false positive and false negative. Because in excitement, we want to have this technology, we want to adopt this technology, but we should not be, we should not lose sight of this fact that any AI system, it is as good as you said, the data on which it has been trained. If an AI system is trained on Western demographics, definitely it would not work very well on Indian demographics. So you have to first create a data set of Indian demographics, not only demographic of a country as a whole, but of demographics of different areas. I want to train a model for Delhi. Definitely, I have to create a data set in which the demographics of this area and the surrounding area are used. So point is, training data is very important. uh, a model trained on some different data sets belonging to different ethnicity and different demographics perhaps may not give very good result. It will give certain result, a reasonable result, but it will not give very promising results. So you have to improve the accuracy and to reduce the false positive and false negative. First, the good data set has to be created. Number one. Number two, for testing, you need to test on real life condition. You can't test in lab with some special kind of data set and then you claim that the system model has got very good accuracy. So this is another important point. Real life data should be used for testing. Real life data means the way CCTV cameras capture photos, daytime, nighttime, partial photos, mask photos, and if photos, the person, the subject which is visible in the field of view has already passed certain age, and the photo which is there in the gallery is very old one. So aging is also a very important factor. A person who is 20 years old and maybe a person who is 60 years old and he's 20 years older photo is in the gallery, system may not be able to give good result until the system has been trained for aging factor also. So if the system has been trained for aging factor, it will recognize. Systems should be trained for disguises, all kind of disguises, specs, mustache, beard, mask, wig, caps. So it all requires that our training data should have provision for disguises, provisions for certain data for aging, some subset of the data should be for poor lighting, different poses, different angles. Then only, I mean, low resolution photograph should also be there. So training should be very broad based and on multiple subsets of extreme variables, the kind of variables I mentioned, pose, angles, and disguises, and expressive faces are different from the normal faces, mask faces, poor resolution. So all these things should be factored in while designing the training data sets and also the testing data sets. So as you said, the false positive, false negative is very important criteria. It can make or break the success of the project. A project is successful only when we are able to contain false positive and false negative. And you can understand it very well, because if I'm running the system, it is giving lot many false positive, means a lot many innocent people would be declared otherwise. So this is not a desirable situation. We want this to be very close to zero. And likewise, a person who is having ill intention, he's about to commit some crime, and he passes as a normal citizen. That is also not a desirable situation. That is false negative. That also, that is the whole purpose. We want to make sure that person who is about to do something nasty, he should be identified by the system, and person who is innocent and law abiding, he should be considered as law abiding. So this kind of discrimination power should be there in the AI model, and then only that AI model can be successfully run.
Now, thousands of cyber CCTV cameras will be operating in the city. So, a large amount, huge amount of data on all citizens, most of whom are not related to any kind of crime, will be recorded. So, cyber security becomes very important, and the privacy of the citizens also becomes very important. So, how do you ensure that cyber security and privacy related concerns are taken care of in this kind of system?
Again, another very important question. In fact, for such kind of large scale projects, cybersecurity is a very, very important ingredient, and that's why we have factored in the cyber threat in the design stage itself, and that's why we have followed the centralized model. So we are not keeping data anywhere else other than our data center. So all the IoT devices which are cameras, sensors. They are devices which will having the data of its own, and that data comes only in one way path through data center. Nothing else can be done through that system. So at best, somebody is able to get hold of that IoT device, that camera. At best, he can try, even attempt for getting data out of that. Even that is also not possible because data is encrypted, and encryption is of very high standard. And we have a camera health monitoring system, centralized camera health monitoring system. The moment somebody tampers with the camera, it can be identified immediately and with the photo of the person who is doing tampering. So that can itself be, that is one of the use cases. I said a dozen use cases. One of the use cases is this one, the camera health monitoring, and somebody tampering will immediately be identified. And unless somebody is having physical access of camera, he cannot take anything out of it because the cameras are very well secured digitally, and our network is also very robust. We have an almost captive network, fiber optic network. So the problem of cyber security, which is so much there on internet, that is not there. We are well protected. We have a MPLS and in a dedicated network which is provided by Railtel. So we are, from that perspective, we are very secure. And on top of that, we have all the ingredient of cybersecurity: firewalls, intrusion detection, intrusion protection, knock-sock, endpoint security. Everything is factored in.
The government is coming up with the Digital Personal Data Privacy Act. So the rules are now about to be released. So how is this act going to impact this kind of a system? Will
Yeah.
it be able to comply? Is compliance a problem?
A very important point, because when we are using CCTV, so we are capturing people's faces in our system, and we are keeping it for a certain number of days. So we become a data fiduciary from that perspective. But we would be doing the role of data fiduciary. We'll be maintaining, we will be complying with all the instruction, directions, and mandatory compliances as provisioned in Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And the rules are already act is out, and now they are to be notified also in a staggered fashion, and the document is already out for consultation, and we are aware of it. And in this act, law enforcement community and research community, they have been given certain exemption in the sense research should go on, and that's why research community needs some kind of protection, some kind of privileges. Similarly, law enforcement community, they are also being given some kind of privileges, because we have our bounden duty to protect society, to protect citizen, to keep the city safe and secure. So we need to monitor and watch CCTV footages. But the guidelines which are there in DPDP Act, that would be fully complied with. And the one of the important ingredients is that the data should be used exactly for the purpose it has been obtained, it is being obtained. And of course, we would be doing only for no preventing crimes and nothing other than that. And that's why we will be fully complying with the DPDP Act. And if any new thing which comes out in the through notification, it will be duly followed and with all with in letter and spirit.
Uh, where is the technology for this system coming from? Is this wholly Indian technology? Are the technologies that we are using for these AI systems and CCTV systems originating in India, or are we importing something?
So I'll start with unlike previous generation technologies, this time with the advent of AI, the gap between Western world and this part of the world has reduced drastically. Now we are very close with the best in the world, and the reason being that this time it is data driven technology. So the first thing comes for doing any kind of research work and doing any innovation is access to data. Luckily we have very good quality data, in the sense we have being such a large country, a lot of IoT devices, so we are generating a lot of data. We are sitting on humongous amount of data, and that's why we have an edge over our Western counterparts, number one. Number two, we have the best AI researchers in India, one of the best ecosystem in the world, best startup ecosystem. I think number two startup we are in the world in terms of number of startups who have been raised from this country. So the kind of ecosystem we have that is giving a kind of a big boost to AI-based research. And third point is uh, in data-driven system, it is not required to really understand the dynamics of any process. All you need to do is train a model on some data set. The moment we get a data set, which is primarily indigenous, it has to be indigenous, and best models are available in the research community. They are some research best models are available in public domain, and on top of that research community, they are bringing out some new models. So I would say we are not, if we are not the best, we are at par, maybe we are front runners. But of course, there are some big tech companies who have an advantage because of the historical reasons. They have been researching this area from pretty long period, so they have some advantage. They have the very size of those big tech companies make sure that they have a huge compute for training their models. Huge compute means battery of GPUs. Graphics processing unit, which is very, it's like it's a building blocks for AI based system. Without GPU we can't train any model. So you, for any kind of research of massive scale, when you need to train a model for massive data set, you require huge amount of compute, and that kind of compute cannot be even provided by an university. I mean, big tech companies can only afford because the size is humongous. So from that perspective, perhaps we need to do a little more. But if that gap is also bridged, perhaps there is nothing which can stop us being the best in the world.
I think there is some scope for collaboration between the policing departments, citizens, and the businesses also, because many citizens and businesses, they also have CCTV cameras outside their premises and inside. So if they can share the data with the police, then data can also be used for enforcement of law and order, emergency response. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, so I think you are right. In fact, some of the southern states, like in Karnataka, Telangana, they have the mechanism of obtaining CCTV footage from citizens on voluntary basis by legislation. So through legislation, it is possible to obtain footages, CCTV footages, which are giving the field of view, which are giving the view of streets, public thoroughfare, because these are the places where crimes happen. So if because government can install many cameras, but there's a limit to which resources can be put in. And if we get the benefit of CCTV camera footages of thoroughfares through citizens, who are volunteering for sharing their footage, I think it can do wonder. And this is what some of the southern states have done, and we are also thinking to go ahead with this same line. And the moment we get those footages, it is possible to do run AI system and for prevention of crime. So that would be a real booster for crime prevention efforts for safe and smart city like Delhi.
Thank you, Mr. Jaiswal. It's a very interesting presentation. And the technology is going, I mean, the way it is evolving, I think it's probably predictive policing is not far away.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are in the, technological singularity kind of situation. It has not arrived as yet, but by one prediction, 2029 is the year when technological singularity would be achieved. This is the prediction by a very well-known computer scientist and futurist, Mr. Ray Kurzweil. So even if his prediction is partially, true, still there are a lot of scope for innovations, and that's why a lot of excitement in this time around across the world with the advent of AI and what all AI can do for the benefit of mankind, for the citizen, for the benefit of citizen. I'm sure law enforcement community, they are also very much alive to reap the benefits of AI, and we are going in big way on multiple fronts how best we can use this new technology for the safety and security of citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.